Hello everyone, it's Michelle here from Gardening with the Landscape Connection. It is January, and I don't know about you, but I took all my Christmas decorations down at home already. And you know how when you do that, your house kind of looks naked. And so I need something in the house to kind of brighten it up a little bit. So what I decided to do today is I am going to be forcing some bulbs in water in glass containers. So I thought I'd show you what I was doing because it's a really fun project to bring some color and some fragrance and some spring into the house in winter. Okay, so forcing bulbs is basically making the bulbs bloom before they're ready to bloom. I think the easiest ones to do are hyacinths, daffodils, and tulips. Those are the three that I'm going to do today. I think crocus are pretty easy too. And if you have leftover bulbs or you have bulbs you didn't get in the ground, this is a great way to use them up. Now, if you are wanting to do this, you probably are going to have to think, I'm going to have to do this next year, because all of these bulbs had to sit through a 12-week chilling period before I could do this. So I kind of planned that I was going to do this, and this is what I called out of my order that came in, and I threw these into the walk-in cooler in October in anticipation of being able to do this in January. So I kind of planned ahead a little bit. And so if you see bulbs at the end of the year that, you know how like at the very, very end, all the box stores are trying to get rid of all the bulbs that are left, they will totally slash the prices on them. That's a great time to get them. Throw them in a refrigerator someplace, as long as it's not next to fruit, and or in your basement, someplace where it's like 40 degrees, so that you can do this yourself next year. Now, the other thing that I did was I did go out and I picked some branches. I cut some branches off some of my shrubs and a few of my trees outside, because I'm going to force these to bloom as well. Now, some branches are easier to do than others, and some are ready right now and some are not. And so it's not like you can go out and cut everything you want to cut. What you're looking for is well, let me find the ones that, here, I'm going to show you these first. All right, these are off of a viburnum bush. And as you can see here, see how the bud is starting to swell on these? Now, we've had some pretty mild temperatures so far, but we have had some nights where it's been pretty cold. Viburnum are a spring bloomer, and so I cut the bottoms, I'm going to put them in water with my bulbs, and then I'm going to force these to sprout their leaves. And I don't know, the flowers, I don't think these really have any flowers. I think this one really is all leaves, these buds right here. But it's going to look really cool in there. The other ones I went and got, these are Fothelgillas, and so the Fothelgilla is going to get a bottle brush flower on it. And I do know that at the tip here, I've got some flower buds and I've got some leaf buds, so I'm going to try these as well. Usually January isn't the best time to force. Usually like the end of February going into March, that's really the best time to go out and cut branches to force. And oh, you can do some really cool things. But then I also had a magnolia. Now magnolia, they're hit and miss. But if you can get them to bloom, it's so worth it. But I did cut a few magnolia tips out, so we'll see if we can get those to flower. I don't know. With these, they're spotty, and I've only ever gotten them to do it once in all the years I've been doing it, but maybe this will be the year. And then I also trimmed off some pussy willows. And so the pussy willows, you're doing that for the catkins, those fuzzy little catkins that come off on it. And so I don't know if I cut these too soon. They might take about 4 weeks to open up, but won't that look cool? And even if they don't, the branches in this will still look really, really neat. So what you're looking for is you're looking for the bud is getting ready to swell on the branches. And I'm going to do a video that talks about all the different ones that you can do and how you force them and whatnot and what you can do with them. Because some of them you can just use for decor and it looks so cool, and some of them you can actually propagate that way. So I'm going to use mine in my containers today just to spice them up while I'm waiting for the bulbs to shoot out their sprouts. So I'm going to do the 3 different containers. I have a 6-inch cylinder. I have a glass cube. This is a 5-inch by 5-inch. And then I found these bowls. These were from my daughter's wedding. And what we did was we did floating flowers and floating candles in them on the table. And that was, I don't know, 10 years ago. But I still had them. And I'm like, oh, that'll be a perfect vessel to do that in. So we're going to use one of these too. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first one I'm going to do is the hyacinth bulb. And as you can see, I put some of these little purple rocks in here. These are left over from my fairy gardening days. And so I have put them in about halfway because I'm going to use these to rest the bulbs on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this up with water only to the very top of the rocks. so that the water is only touching the very bottom of the bulb. I don't want to submerge the bulb in the water. I want those roots to reach for the water. Now I am using gloves to touch the hyacinths because I don't want to have itchies all over me, because a lot of people are allergic to the skin of the hyacinth bulbs. Okay, so I'm gonna nestle those right down in there, and I'm gonna put 4 of them in here. Now, the other thing I'm gonna do is I am gonna take these upstairs to the studio. I'm gonna put them in bright, indirect light. So I'm not gonna put them right in smack full sunlight, because that could dry my bulb out, and I don't want that to happen either. I will have to periodically check to see that it has water, because you want the roots to reach for the water, and then you'll see the roots start to grow through the medium. Now, I am going to use my magnolia branches that I have already pre-cut, and I'm going to use the rocks to help hold them up, and the actual bulbs themselves, so that I create a little bit of interest in my little pot here, or my little, I don't know what you want to call it, my little cube, while I'm waiting for my hyacinths to grow. And I can always pull the branches out and move them around or thin them out as the hyacinths start to grow. But I'm hoping to get these magnolias to also bloom, and I think that will be really super cool. Now, it might be too crowded and I might only end up with 2 or 3, because, you know, hyacinths are pretty big. So we're gonna hope that by forcing them together like this, I have this really pretty display. And again, I don't know if the magnolia will bloom or not, but we're gonna give it a shot. And even if it doesn't, it still looks good. All right, basically I'm just gonna repeat the same thing over again. The only difference is I'm just gonna use a different color in the bottom of my glass. So I've got red and I've got purple. And so what I've decided to do is I'm going to use these blue with the red. I don't know, maybe blue with the purple. Let's see, which one do we like? Red, purple. It's all they had at the dollar store. So I think I'm gonna do the purple and the blue together. I think that'll be really pretty. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna dump these, and that's where I got these little stones. I got them at the Dollar Tree. They were $1.25 a bag. Okay, so I'm gonna dump these in here. Ooh, those are pretty. Pretty blue. And again, I'm gonna put water in this, and there's no fertilizer in the water or anything like that. This is just regular water. Okay, so in here it goes. Just enough. And actually, that's a little bit too much. Yeah, you want those bulbs to reach. Okay, so there we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the purple tulips. And so in here there are 7 tulip bulbs, and I'm going to put all 7 of them in there. And remember, the grow tip goes up. So you're just going to put them in here right on top. And I'm just going to put them in a circle. And then I think on this one, what do you think? Let's do the Fothabilla branches. I think those will look good. Oh, I don't know if I can get, yeah, I can get 7 in there. I just got to move them around. There's 6 in a circle, and then I'll put 1 in the middle. There we go. Leave that tunic on there. That's that papery outer edge. That helps protect your bulb. So there you go. All of those are in there, and we're just going to add our branches. All right, so here's my Fothabilla, and I'm just going to work those down inside. And I might have to make them shorter again to get them to stand up. So I am going to make them a little bit shorter. That worked better. Okay, so about that height. What a fun project. And then if you have kids or grandkids, they can watch this. Isn't that fun? So if you have a sunny windowsill to put this on. And then as they start to come up. Now the one thing you'll find is if you don't have a sunny enough area, your stems will be really super weak, and you'll see them start to reach towards the light. And if that starts happening, maybe you need to get a light over the top of them to give them more light. Sorry about the sliding noise. That's like the snow that we had yesterday sliding off the roof. All right, one more. All right. All right, there it is. So Fothabillas, I've done these and forced them before. I've had pretty good luck with Fothabillas. All right, there we go. Nice. Okay, I like this one. All right, let's do the last one. All right, this last one I'm going to do in this shallow dish, and I'm hoping this works. I've never done one in a shallow dish like this, but I thought, what the heck, we're going to try. And I'm going to try and make like a little scene in here. So what I'm going to do is, these are, again, rocks that I bought at Dollar Tree, and I got 4 little bags. And be careful when you're putting rocks in glass that you don't, you know, crack your glass. Okay, so there we go. I've got those in there, and that was 4 little bags. They used to sell bigger bags of like these polished stones, but they didn't have any. They just kind of had this pretty river rock. So I thought, you know what, that'll work. Now, the other thing I thought I would do is on this one, I want to make like a little fairy scene in here. So I'm going to put a little fairy house in here. And then I'm going to put, I have a little fairy. And look, I have a little kitty. Isn't that cute? Oh, and I should show you the little house. Isn't that cute with the little bunny on there? Okay, and I'm going to do daffodils in this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run these more towards the front and kind of have the daffodils back here behind it. So I'm going to put the little kitty in here and my little fairy. Okay, so those guys are going to be like right up front, kind of like that. You see them in there? Aren't they cute? Now, I would put moss in this, but I think that's just going to get icky and gross. So I'm just going to have them sitting on the rocks. And I know that they're in there. And when my grandkids come over, they'll think it's cool. All right, and then again, I'm going to add some water. Just enough to cover the rocks. And then I'm going to do my daffodils. I wish I had tete-a-tetes, because tete-a-tetes would be so cute. They're so much smaller, but we only have the regular daffodil bulbs, so hopefully these aren't going to be so big that they look misproportionate, but this is what I got, and this is what I'm using. All right, so I'm going to put the daffodils in here. And again, leave that papery tunic on there. So I'm hoping it looks like a forest of daffodils in here behind my little hut. Okay, and I'm leaving enough room here. There we go. So now I've got those in there. See how I have them all in the back? Okay, there we go. So there we go. All right, clean up my mess, throw them away. And these I'm going to save for another project another day. All right, so there we have it. Now this one, I think I do want to put maybe some shorter pussy willows in here to kind of make it look more like a forest. Oh yeah, I like that. And pussy willows are super easy to make them come out. So. Now the pussy willows you don't do for flowers. You do those for those fuzzy little catkins that come out on them. And I'm actually going to trim it shorter here so I can have this multi-branched one right here. Put that in there. Oh, I got to make it stay. Sometimes you, there we go. I want to make it stay, and then I'm going to use those little tips, and I'm going to put those back in there. Okay, there we go. Get in there. All right, there we go. Look at that. Sweet. I can't wait till these things come up so I can show you. So I'll keep you updated as we do different projects. Now I still have some branches left and I don't want to waste them. So I went and got a cylinder and I'm going to add some of, I just had some white rocks with some, I don't know, these are like, again, I got these at the dollar store. So I'm just going to add these. That should do it. Okay. What is it? That's a little bud of something. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, oh, there was like little floaties in there. All right, I got the floaties out, like that plastic snow, I think is what was in there. So, okay, got it. All right, I'm going to use the rest of my branches, and then I'm just going to force these branches. And so these are my viburnums, because I didn't use them. They're kind of long, so I think they'll be better in this cylinder. And then I'm going to add the rest of the pussy willows that I had. And I might have to trim off these side shoots right here so that they'll fit. Yep. So we'll put one on either side and then run one up the middle. If I can get it down on the rocks. Come on. I know it doesn't look like much now, but it'll be pretty once they bloom. All right, there we go. Maybe add a few more rocks. To help hold them in place. There we go. That worked better. All right, there we go. See? And then I'll put this in the window too with all of my other pieces. I can't wait. So these are the steps that I just came up, and this is where I'm going to make my little studio right here. So for now, I've just got those right there because I've gathered up some things that I have to bring over here, and then, you know, I got to dust it and clean the floors and all that good stuff. So I've got a nice window here with good western exposure, so we get really good sunlight over here. It's also really warm up here because, look, there's my heater right there. And so this will make a nice little studio area for me to be able to film in. And so I'll be putting that together in the next, I don't know, week or so. I'll get that all ready to go. So how fun was that, you guys? Super easy to do. It's a way to bring some beautiful spring color into the house. Again, make sure you put it in nice indirect light, not right in the sunshine or they'll dry out. Check that water every couple days, add a little bit just so it's on the bottom of those bulbs so that they'll reach for that water and root. In 3 to 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks. It depends. It's different depending on where you put them. I'm going to have some beautiful flowers, and we're going to hope that the branches also bloom at the same time. We'll see, because some of these are faster than others. So I'm Michelle. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.